In 2015, Albuquerque, New Mexico, the parents of a 3-year-old boy and 2-year-old girl were resting in a motel, and the boy decided to try to find something to do. He went into his mother's purse to try to find her iPad, but instead he found something else. Inside her purse was a gun she bought from the gun store, or not, actually the pawn shop, earlier that day. So the boy tried to play with it, and it ended up going off. He ended up shooting his father in the hip with the bullet passing through his hip and entering his mother's shoulder. Both parents survived, but were badly injured. And now the boy has to live with the fact that he has shot both of his parents. This is one of many examples of people who are irresponsible with guns in this country. At this point in time, there are many people in this country who do not know how to handle guns, don't need a gun, or in some cases have bought a gun to use them for crimes. For this reason, we need strict gun control, so that way instances like this are lowered and to keep more crimes from happening. We probably all know at least one or two people with guns, and many people buy them for protection but don't actually really use them or practice with them. They just lie around. So today I will talk about why we should have gun control in the United States, the effects of people using guns improperly, as well as situations with that, and what we can do in situations and what we can do to keep them from happening. So first, let's talk about the history of guns in the United States. So since the beginning of the United States, or not beginning of the United States, since around the Revolutionary War, many people had guns with the Second Amendment, which is a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. The right of people to bear arms shall not be infringed. The United States at the time was actually not a very safe place, at least like at several points during this, because there was risk of homes being invaded during the Revolutionary War and the Civil War. So many people were actually required to have guns just to protect their own homes. And this amendment was made so that way, in the case the government did go bad, they could fight off their new tyrannical government. So this amendment was mainly for protection. However, as we moved more towards the 20th century, we actually needed this less and less, as we now had an army to fight off against governments or other countries, and because they're so far away, our military can get to them before they get to us. Let's see. And robbery and thieves are robberies, and people breaking into your homes can also be stopped by policemen as well, so that's even less of a reason for us to have them. And there are also some people who had them but don't really know how to use them, as I stated earlier. So they don't really know how to take care of them. Now that we've talked about the history of guns, let's talk about some of the effects and some of the ways people improperly use them. So there are some bad examples with this. There are many people that have guns but are irresponsible with them, keeping them lying around loaded and without a trigger lock, which for those of you who do not know, a trigger lock is this little piece of metal that goes in between the hole of where the trigger is and keeps you from pulling the trigger. One sec. So, and there's actually quite a few people who are just irresponsible with guns in general. I mean, you could just go on your phone right now, type in gun fail on Google, and you will find many people hurting themselves all using guns in ways that their friend or even the cameraman could have told them, don't do this, you're going to shoot yourself. There are also, according to an article by Jack Haley and 3 other people, 4 toddlers who hurt, injured, or killed someone in April of 2015 alone. So now, and this is really bad because that means that as they're growing up, they constantly have to live with the fact, oh my God, I shot someone important to me. Why did I do that? And they have to keep living with this for the rest of their lives. So these types of situations need to stop, so that way people don't have to live with this just growing up. Now, all right, now that we've talked about people who are irresponsible with guns, let's talk about ways to solve this problem. So the best possible solution would be strict gun control, which limits on who has guns and to keep them locked up until they are needed. There are many places around the world who have it. 2 I'm going to focus on right now would be Australia and Japan. So Australia didn't really adopt strict gun control laws until 1996. And this was due to a massacre in Tasmania, Australia, where a 28-year-old man and had an AR-15 and went around killing people in the town of Port Arthur, killing 35 people and injuring 18. After this, Australia really, really got strict. They even instrumented a mandatory buyback system where they would force people to sell their guns to them and they would pay them back nicely for it, right, resulting in about, I think it was 650,000 guns destroyed. Let me see. Now, and the requirements to get the gun were even stricter. So in order to get a gun in Australia, you actually have to have a reason to have a gun. So say I wanted a handgun. I'd have to be part of a shooting club and I have to go there regularly as well as prove I can actually shoot well. And I would have to keep going to shooting competitions to keep my license. This would also apply for hunters who have rifles as well. And if, say, you want to have or carry around a gun with you, you are required to have a trigger lock on your gun. Japan is also really strict as well. With Japan, you actually have to take a day-long class, pass an exam, your mental health has to be okay. What else? Oh, then you also have to take a day-long shooting class too. And then even still, you have to, oh no, remember, you have to actually, or they have to do a background check. And during the background check, they have to make sure your history is okay, your family's history is okay, your coworkers' history is okay, and your friends' history is okay. So to make sure you are safe. And even still, with all of that, if you get a gun, you're only limited to 2 types of guns, a shotgun and an air rifle. Handguns in Japan are completely banned. So in America, according to an article by Elisha, buying a gun, what the article called "Buying a Gun is So Easy" doesn't even make sense. According to a graph, in 2015, there are only 13 of our 50 states actually require a background check just to buy a gun. While background checks have stopped around 2.4 million people from buying guns, 40% of guns in the US are sold without question. And these can possibly be used for crime. So in order to have a proper gun control laws, we should mix between Japan's laws as well as Australia's with the strict tests for buying a gun, like the shooting exam and stuff, as well as taking Australia's action of having trigger locks as well as inspection of rifles. That's also something I forgot to say. So if you own a rifle or several rifles, actually, in Australia, police can randomly come and inspect your home to make sure that you still have those exact rifles that are licensed. All right. Now, some people will say they need guns to protect themselves, so taking them away would be a problem. Well, I'm not saying you should take away guns in general. You should just limit specific guns as well as what guns you need. Now, most people in this country are not actually going to be robbed. So, the odds of you really truly needing a gun in your lifetime are actually pretty low. Crap, I am got only a little bit of time left. Okay, so in conclusion, we talked about the history of guns, the effects of guns, as well as the type of gun control we can use. So looking at it, we need gun control laws because we're already very irresponsible with guns in this country currently. So with these, we can prevent and other people from accidentally shooting each other, their kids from accidentally finding a gun and shooting someone, or even ourselves from accidentally setting a gun off and shooting someone else. Thank you for your time.